Wow. It seems like risk happens faster than you are expecting. Today I have an emergency video for MicroStrategy. I was thinking in making the update like the next week, but uh, there are some things that we need to talk about. And if you can take a look, the price action is very sharp to the downside and it's pointing to our main $60 price target. We were expecting the bounce in the previous video, as we talked about. We were expecting the bounce to the Larson line as the fractal show, but it never happened. It already break down to the downside, and since our last video a few days ago, we already dropped like 34%. And to arrive to the $60 price target, there is still like a 40% drawdown. And remember that the Larson line, you can take a look that when the Larson line turned to blue, the weekly Larson line turned to blue, then come the crash. Now, I think we are heading to mainly the bottom of this. The people, you can see the people in X is very angry at this moment, and that's what marks the sentiment at the bottom. So is an opportunity for you investors to take advantage of, but don't rush yet. I think if you see that I have like the 2 of March dates um target, we have that date, maybe for by the end of this month you already, or MicroStrategy already reached the $60 level. At some point I expect that the Larson line on the weekly will be touched, so the bounce should be greater. Look this sharp decline, and we are at a sharp decline also. Don't FOMO, don't FOB, just stay patient, because the main thesis, remember that you can enter once the daily Larson line turn to yellow. So you have time for that one, but I think that if we reach this center beach for is a very good place to start heavily buying, and that I think will mark the bottom of this MicroStrategy bear market. And I have some things to talk about also to MetaPlanet, but for that one you can wait a few days. There's some things developing in that asset too, and I will talk something before I leave. Remember, in the last video we talked about um, Bitcoin on the weekly. If you remember the schematic that we have, and the main thesis is that we we are like, let's say, we give me remember, we were expecting this bottom, and look how sharp it is right now. It's sharper. So I am expecting a bounce for Bitcoin and then the crash, maybe to the 40s or to the 30K regions. But that bounce and drop is the thesis that we are expecting, because this schematic represents this. Look, the bounce and then the crash, bounce and then the crash. So stay patient. We are very near to the bottom. I think uh, to a major uh, let's say a crash event, but you have to be patient. MicroStrategy can be cheaper, and if not, we will have an entry point at some point for the indicator that we are using. So have patience, don't rush to this. You can uh, make a better entry point. So that's the thing at the moment. Uh, I will keep it simple. I will talk about the, winter and MSTY later because I don't think we are all in the middle of the bear market for MicroStrategy. I think we are heading to the end of the bear market for MicroStrategy. So one, we are starting to develop maybe a Wyckoff distribution, a Wyckoff accumulation at the bottom. Maybe at that point, it's better to have the money if you have in MSTY rather than winter WNTR. But I think we are almost in the end of the bear market. Look, this almost the end. Also, 1 year almost would say from the top. We are more than over a year from the top, and almost a year or 8 months about the bear markets. Think we are heading to the end of the bear market. So keep it simple, like, subscribe, and I see you on the next one.